Welcome to the Full Audio Books Short Stories channel. The author, Sandy Ingram, holds the print, digital, and audio rights.
Titled Relevant Truths, written by Sandy Ingram, narrated by Cassandra Brown. "Mommy, Mommy, don't leave!" my 5-year-old screamed from the front door of our apartment. Her hair was a mess, and tears were streaming down her face. She was terrified. Nick and I argued when we thought she was asleep. I know how frightened a child feels when parents fight. I remembered my own childhood, and here I was repeating the life cycle. I ran back to hug my little girl and dry her tears. By this time, Nick too was standing at the door, looking helpless. We fought often. It was always about the same thing, money. I worked. He did not. He could barely leave the house in fear of ICE. And I understood how he felt. Each time he went outside of the apartment complex, he risked being arrested and deported. I was resentful towards him, even though I never said it. I knew he could feel it. His family sent him to America to work and send money home each month. It was a common scenario for poor families in Mexico. I was born in America and grew up in Los Angeles, California. I did not mind giving Nick $200 a month to send to his family in Mexico. I made good money and often slipped another $100 into his mother's bank account without telling him. Things were hard for undocumented workers in America. Jobs were drying up, and more Mexicans who lived and worked in the United States for years were being deported. The only good thing about being deported is you can get a job faster when you can speak both English and Spanish, especially in the hospitality industry. I knew it would only be a matter of time before Nick was deported. People in our community were being deported every day. I fully intended on moving to Mexico with Nick. I did not want our daughter to grow up without a father. Being self-employed, I earned a substantial monthly income as an internet marketing specialist. My clients were in America, Spain, and other parts of the world. Nick's family was poor and needed our help to survive, and I gladly supported Nick's efforts to help his family. Maria, our daughter, was suffering from our family dynamics. Nick and I were arguing almost daily. I was upset about him spending money for beer each day. I knew he could not go out and look for a job, yet he refused to help me online to make life easier for both of us. There were tasks online which Nick could do. Instead, I paid freelancers to do these tasks each month. It was a daily cycle of bad feelings, and it was getting worse. It upset me that Nick would not help me with my clients, and then I found out why. To ease the tension at home, I began working at one of the city hotspots for online freelancers. I paid the monthly fee to be away from my toxic home environment. Then I realized it was only toxic when I was there. A nanny cam showed me how attentive Nick was to our daughter when I was not home. The nanny cam showed me something else. Nick would use the computer and chat with his family, who lived in a small town outside of Acapulco. Maria would talk to her grandmother, cousins, and other neighborhood kids each day. She was fluent in both English and Spanish. I fully realized secrets in a relationship eventually tear it apart, and my relationship with Nick was no different. I was not exactly honest about how much money I earned. I cried poor. The bank statement said differently. My nanny cam showed Nick asking his sister to read our mail to him, mostly my bank statements. My daughter's father could not read English or Spanish. I suddenly understood his world. He felt helpless and probably a little frightened that I would eventually leave him. He was right. I had thought about packing up Maria and leaving more than once. Nick always used sex to make me change my mind. Our sex life usually included the keyword explosive. On the evening after I figured out why Nick could not help me online, things were different. I did not speak of what I learned, and he did not speak about the bank statements. There was always lust and determined sex. However, on this night, compassion, understanding, and acceptance entered our bedroom. It was easy to see how relevant truths saved our relationship. I was looking for a reason to leave. Instead, I found a reason to try harder. We moved to Mexico for Nick's sake. He is a happier man and works a construction job. As soon as we marry and get Nick's paperwork completed, we will move back to America, or not. Nick is learning to read with Maria under the assumption that he is helping her. We live in a small villa overlooking the sea. I work from home. My clients in America, Spain, and around the world are happy, and so am I.
If you enjoy the short stories created for Sandy's YouTube channel, please subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when new audiobooks are uploaded.